All right, and we are live with another episode of the Keeg Talks. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira. This is the show brought to you by the Keeg, where we talk about a different geek topic every other week or so. Today, we're talking about Star Wars love. We're talking about our love of Star Wars. And I can't do it alone. Never have and never will. Instead, let me introduce my awesome guests for today. To my right, this way, we got Chris, aka Star Wars Lawyer. Chris, how you doing today?
Hello, what have we here? How's it going, Dimitri?
It is going okay, other than a late start, but I am looking forward to the conversations that we're going to be having today. So, looks like you're in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, the Lando's rightful ship.
Is it your favorite ship? Like you personally?
Yep, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Safe to say.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm glad to have you, whether or not you're on this planet or not.
Happy to be here.
And then in the window right under mine, we got Marianne, aka Screaming Namaste. Marianne, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. You just got back from
Disney. Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. We'll talk about Galaxy's
Yes.
Edge soon enough.
Lots to say.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on here. And then diagonally, sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
I just said, of course. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And then diagonally to me, we got Discount Bo-Katan herself. We got Hannah.
Hello.
Hannah, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been so long since I saw Hannah on the show. No, were you on the Keeg back like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, now you're here to talk specifically about Star Wars. So
I am.
I'm really interested. And oh, by the way, we are live streaming to 3 different platforms right now. Volume.com/The Keeg Show, Twitch.tv/The Keeg Show, and YouTube.com/The Keeg Show. And then later, we'll turn this audio into a podcast and get that on the Keeg, wherever you get your podcasts. So that's something to look forward to. I guess the opening question that I have for all of you is, when did you get into Star Wars? Because Star Wars has been around before any of us were born. Chris, you got an interesting story on how you got into it?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a family affair. So I'm the youngest child, and my older brother, he loves Star Wars. And so he always has since we were little. He would run the tape out of those VHS tapes that we had. And so as he would tell the story, I was being a rambunctious 3-year-old running around, not listening to anybody. And he was just like, you're going to sit here and watch Star Wars. And I did. And then that next year is when The Phantom Menace came out. And that was everybody's birthday party in the summer of 1999. I saw that movie so many times. And I like to say that my consciousness began when Darth Maul activated that second lightsaber. Like it was it. It was a wrap. I was done.
That second lightsaber was super cool. That moment right there. Marianne, were you gonna say something?
I just said it sounds like a core memory.
Yeah. Why was Star Wars a punishment for you? It seemed like a punishment. You have to sit down and watch it. Stop running around.
No, it wasn't like a punishment. It was more like my brother didn't want to be an older brother and have to like wrangle me down. So he's just like, here's something that's like flashing lights and colors. Yeah, that'll suit the toddler.
Yeah. Did you understand all of it?
At the time, probably not.
Yeah.
I remember like probably, lightsabers and like always wanting one. And back then we got the good plastic lightsabers, the ones that you could actually fight with for more than like 10 seconds before they broke.
Yeah.
And so like I remember doing that, and like everybody wanted to run around and be a Jedi or something like that. Always remember that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Marianne, were you punished and forced to watch Star Wars?
No, not nearly as interesting of a story as that. But I first saw Star Wars when they re-released the original trilogy in theaters, and I think it was 1997 to sort of like reignite the hype before the prequel trilogy came out. And my mom had been like an OG Star Wars fan in the 70s, and so she was like, "Oh my God, I have to take you to see this." So she took my brother and I to the re-release of A New Hope, and that was just like the best introduction to Star Wars, to see A New Hope on the big screen at 7 years old, like literally the best way to get into Star Wars. And I've been hooked ever since.
That's awesome. I mean, I got some questions, but we'll finish this and then I have some questions for everybody.
Okay.
Hannah, how'd you get into it?
Mine is actually more similar to Chris's. It was a little bit against my will.
Okay.
So because I was like, it was Christmas, and my family does both Hanukkah and Christmas. So we were, like chugging to the end of like the holiday season, and it was like everyone in the family was like together for the last of this, tail end of us being together. And my brother had received like a box set of the original trilogy for Christmas. And so, I think it was maybe my uncle who was like, "Yeah, let's all watch this together. Like, it'll be so much fun." And I was like, "No, that's a boy movie. I want to watch something else. Like, stop it." And they were like, "You'll like it. There's a princess. There's a princess." And I'm like, okay. So that was like, I was about 7 years old. So that was a good, introduction. I think I was like kind of bitching about it until Leia showed up. Sorry, I don't know what's the language parameter.
No, you can say whatever the fuck you want. That's
Perfect.
fine.
I was bitching about it.
You were. Own it, you were bitching.
Yeah. So that's sort of where it began. And then I had like a very like a casual but positive relationship to Star Wars until the sequel trilogy started coming out when I was a freshman in high school. And that was kind of like, hey, I remember really liking this as a kid. Let's get back. And, after I saw Force Awakens, I was like, I'm set. I'm in. Like, let's do it for the long haul.
What about Force Awakens made you go in it for the long haul?
I just enjoyed it so much. But I think the fact that there was like an online fandom that I could just immediately jump right into was so like, like, because in that kind of period of time, I had started having social media when I was like in sixth grade. So the same thing happened to me with like, I saw Frozen and I loved it. And then there was an online like community talking about how much they loved Frozen. And I just got like really into it because of that. Like that was kind of par for the course for me.
Yeah. Are you still a big fan of Frozen? I
mean, I enjoy it a lot, but not like I used to be. I had a whole cosplay. I did princess parties as Anna.
Oh, okay.
Like it was a whole thing. I got like the extension actually put in my head with the white streak.
Okay.
Just wore that to school all the time. That was very, very big. So, like it was kind of like my thing is like, I'll find a movie that I like. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I like that walking out of the movie theater. And then I start talking about it with people online and I realize like, oh yeah, I remember thinking that was cool too, blah, 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 blah. So the ball gets rolling once it moves to like Instagram.
Yeah.
That was my experience.
Before you guys were into Star Wars, was there a different thing that like occupied all your headspace and then you had to like bump it down to bring Star Wars up?
Star Wars was probably the first. It's either that or Batman. Yeah. So like around the same time because of my older brother. So
yeah,
it's been a Star Wars life for me.
Did you just follow whatever your older brother did, or he forced it on you, or what? Either or.
I mean, I think it was more like I wanted to do what they did.
Yeah.
Because they would play video games. I would want to play. They would give me an unplugged controller, and I would think I was playing, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, good job, Chris." Like, yeah, all right, it's fine. I do that with my niece now, except she got caught on when she was 4, and I was like, man, I thought I had a couple more years of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was more of those things like wanting to do with what my brothers did, and then coming into my own which was generally the books. post the Phantom Menace.
Yeah. I feel like the stories are like the stories for each of our like experiences are different depending on our age.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that definitely changes things because I was in no, I'm not gonna say, but I was a kid. I was a kid when prequels came out, so you know, just an older kid. And so I had a good amount of time after I watched the original trilogy at my friend's house. Like I watched it before school started on VHS because I was like carpooling with my friend. And he was like, I got Star Wars on VHS. And I'm like, I've never seen it. Because my parents aren't into like science fiction or fantasy. Like, they like Iron Man. Spider-Man's pushing it. They like Batman. That's cool. Fast and the Furious, right? Like, realistic action movies. But like Star Wars has never been like their thing. So my friend showed it to me and I watched it in like half-hour chunks before school started on VHS.
I think it's interesting that you just called Spider-Man a realistic movie.
I said Spider-Man's pushing it. I said Spider-Man's pushing
I
it.
see.
Yeah. But like, can I get them into like Thor Ragnarok, which I love? I don't know whether I can get them into Thor Ragnarok. That's wild, you know? And so like, that's just my parents. I was like, over the pandemic, I was like, oh, here's Fast and the Furious. I think you'll like this. I've given up on Star Wars with them, you know. But I showed my mom baby Grogu, and I'm like, and she's like, oh, that's cute. And I'm like, yeah, that's the extent of that, you know. Did you guys have parents that were into Star Wars? Is that something that you guys like share?
Yeah, my mom, she was been a fan since the originals when they came out in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. My parents saw it. Now they remember most things that happened in the movies, but if I'll be like, yeah, whose lightsaber is this? And it's like Luke's, they'll be like, I don't know.
You're giving your parents trivia, like Star Wars trivia?
You know, I gotta test their geek cred, their nerd cred every once in a while.
I don't test my parents on anything we watch. Like, that's like going a step too far. I show them a movie, I ask them, did you like it or not? And then they tell me, and then I'm like, cool. I don't need to ask you character names. They're just like, whatever.
For me, it's like a little bit of because, like, at least for the sequels, we all saw them together. I think we all saw all the prequels together at least once in theaters. But you know, especially now that I'm older, my dad especially will just be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "I don't know, Dad. I'm seeing the movie for the first time." So now afterwards, when I'm triggering on trivia, I was just like, "See, this is." Were you paying attention? No, okay.
Hannah, did you say?
Yeah, no, I mean, my dad saw the movies growing up, and there's this story that he always tells. My aunt really tells it because she's spiteful about it. That after A New Hope came out, he and like his friend would play Star Wars, and they would be like Han and Luke, and they would take my aunt and they would like tie her to a pole in the basement and be like, "You're Leia, and you have to wait till we come and rescue you," and then leave and play Star Wars by themselves. God. And she just would wait, and like my grandma would come down and just bring her snacks, but leave her tied to like the pole. I mean, it wasn't like a malicious. I'm sure it was just kind of like there's a headband around your wrists. I don't think it was anything crazy, but she was just like, "You left me there alone in the basement." And you know, it was being supervised by mom, so I'm sure it wasn't. But like, I'm sure it was safe. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, except that it was the 70s and nothing was safe for kids, but it's fine. But no, I mean, like that. So based on that story and like the fact that, you know, the movie theater that I grew up living near, my dad would be like, "Oh, like I saw Return of the Jedi there when it first came out in that theater." So I was under the impression he was like a big Star Wars fan. So I was like, "Dad, get into it with me." And he was like, "I kind of remember these things, like vaguely. I don't know. I was 10 when I saw that movie." Like, you know, I do know that one of the first things he and my mom did when they got back from their honeymoon was watch The Phantom Menace. And that was a real buzz killer for them.
Yeah, I mean, good thing they watch it after the honeymoon. You know, not during the honeymoon. Yeah, that's fair. It's weird how like everybody has a different thoughts about the prequels compared to the original trilogy. Again, depending on whether like you grew up with it or not. But like, because before the prequel trilogies came out, like I was reading a lot of the books, and now it's Legends. But my favorite stuff about Star Wars is like the expanded universe stuff. And then the prequels come out, and then I'm like, oh, this is not what I had imagined the prequel trilogy to be. And that's like coming in as a, whatever age-year-old with my like preconceived expectations. Did you guys have that, or are you like who?
I didn't watch the prequels until like 2016. So I kind of knew I was watching the sequels before I was watching the prequels.
Yeah.
So I, from existing on the internet, I kind of knew what all of it was.
What to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marianne?
Yeah, I had been a huge fan of the original trilogy already by the time the prequels came out. So when I saw them, I'll be honest, I was not a huge fan. I think I was like 15 when Revenge of the Sith came out, and I remember absolutely hating that they had Padme just die. And I know that there's different like, theories, or is Palpatine involved and whatever, and that always stuck with me. I was just like, what? She was like so strong, and now she's just like sad over a man after she gave birth to twins. And so that's really like where a lot of my TikTok jokes sort of came from, because that had been such a sticking point for me as a teenager. I was just like, who wrote this? This is misogynistic. And like I just kind of went with it from there for my jokes, because I had liked her prior to that and remember being disappointed. So yeah, I wasn't a fan really of the prequels when they came out, but then the sequels totally like, I felt the total opposite. I was obsessed with Rey. I just loved all of it.
Padme's not dead. She's hanging out with Mace Windu somewhere, waiting to come back.
God.
Who's to say?
Oh, Mace.
Chris, did you have preconceived notions going into the prequels?
No, not until we got to Revenge of the Sith. Because at least, I guess a little bit for Attack of the Clones too. Because, for the Phantom Menace, it was like, oh, lightsabers go burr. That was my cognitive thought.
Yeah.
But with Attack of the Clones, because you had the Jedi Quest books come out, and so I had like the preconceived notions of what Anakin and Obi-Wan would be like, and I feel like for the most part they kept that, except for Anakin was a lot. I mean, I think back then I thought what Anakin was saying was like peak romance, but I was like 7, so but but then and now looking back I was like but then with Revenge of the Sith, especially because you had, like you were talking about, the expanded universe, the Star Wars Republic comics by Dark Horse. Like I read those religiously, and so when it came to seeing Grievous go up against Obi-Wan, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be epic. And then it happened. And then I remember I was just like, yeah, but that fight for Anakin versus Obi-Wan, I don't know why. And I just remember this like a week or two ago. Like I imagined like some desert planet showdown. And then like sort of how like it ended, but Anakin was just going to be left in sand. And that was going to cement his hatred for Obi-Wan because he left him in sand. Yeah. But yeah. I
guess lava is just melted sand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, there it is. There it is. But yeah, so I think preconceived notions really hit for me more when it came to the sequels, because I had been, at least for probably since I was maybe around like 12 or so, had been reading the expanded universe, comics, books, anything I could get my hands on.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to read like the Junior Jedi Knight books and the Young Jedi Knight books. Wait, which one was which? Which one was Jason and Jaina?
I think that's Young Jedi Knight.
Young Jedi Knights. And then Junior was Anakin, Solo, and like Lyric or Tahiri. No, I don't know. Anyway.
Good old Anakin.
I'm just spouting names at this point. But yeah, I used to like the books because I used to just imagine what it was. And then when you actually like see it on screen, it's a little bit different. Did you guys play any of the like the video games or anything?
I did a little Lego Star Wars, but I don't really remember. I was more of a Lego Harry Potter gal, to be honest.
I like how your idea of the video games goes back to Lego Star Wars. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I mean, like since I've played Knights of the Old Republic and everything, but like growing up, that was not at all in my world.
Yeah. Marianne?
But not a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, because when episode 1 came out, like episode 1 Racers was like huge. And like why else, would I know Ben Quadinaros? Like, why would I know his name if not for the game? Chris, what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah. So the Obi-Wan Kenobi game that was an Xbox exclusive, Jedi Power Battles, the pod racing game, like you said.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Star Wars games of all time is Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. And I absolutely love that game because it did like customization and I was able to make myself a black Jedi, insert myself into the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I will still play that game because they just re-released it for like the Switch and the Xbox the past couple years. So I will still play that game. Still holds up to me.
Did you play Dark Forces?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that was crazy.
Yeah.
And then they decided to add the lightsaber and the powers to the sequel and then call it Jedi Knight.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything that I learned about Star Wars when I was a kid, I had to do it either like by myself and go to the library and like look up books, which luckily like the kids section had the books that I needed, because my parents didn't know really Star Wars. And then like my best friend growing up knew about it. So then we used to read Star Wars books in class and like open the book underneath the table in that little gap and like read it and then get in trouble.
I had kind of a similar experience to that, except I wasn't like really for some reason in my elementary school library, they had one of like the expanded universe books. I don't know. It was centered around the Han and Leia, I think, but it was like this thick. It was huge. It was an absolute brick. And it was in the elementary school library for some reason. And I just remember like finding it and I was like, a Star Wars book. And I checked it out and I just carried it around for a while and I never read it. And then I like skimmed open and I looked at it and I was like, hee ha ha, Han and Leia had kids. I've gotten everything I needed to out of this book.
Yeah.
Like, this is all I was willing to do.
It's funny, that reminds me, like in my elementary school library, they had like, there was like a short series with like Trioculus and Triclops and like the Emperor's son kind of thing. And it's like Zorba the Hutt's Revenge or whatever. There was like books like that. And then that was at my like elementary school library that I checked out. Zorba the Hutt. That was a thing. Anyway, elementary school libraries for the win. I wanted to shout out Barika Wookie out there. Barika Wookie's in the comments. Explosivo Steve is in the comments. And Brian with the beard. All of them are on volume.com/The Keeg Show. But we also got Twitch and YouTube open as well. But nobody's there. But that's fine. Which one of the trilogies really stand out to you as like your favorite? I know that's it's a hot topic.
I can't say it because everyone will get mad at me, but it's the sequel trilogy. I like it the best.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be objective about it, I would say probably like the highest quality trilogy is going to be the original trilogy for me. But, because I was there when it came out and then making fan theories in between the next one. And then when the Last Jedi came out and then making fan theories for Rise of Skywalker and, their opening night for some of them, it just like, it hits different. And I still can't watch Rise of Skywalker without openly weeping every time Han Solo shows up. Like,
I love the Rise of Skywalker.
Do you?
Yeah, that's my favorite out of the sequels. But my favorite overall trilogy would be the original trilogy. I just have a lot of nostalgic attachments to like being a kid and playing with the toys and reenacting scenes and things like that.
When I was a kid with the toys, I had a couple toys and I hadn't seen the movies yet. So I would just kind of make up stuff of what I thought Star Wars was. And then I saw it and then I was like, oh, okay. There's no portals? I thought there were portals. There's no portals? That's weird. Okay. Chris?
So my favorite trilogy, if I'm going to watch like a singular movie from it, will be the originals. If I'm watching a trilogy just going straight through, it's the prequels.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So like if I just want to watch a single movie, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna watch New Hope today, or Empire or Return of the Jedi. But, if I'm like, it's time for a rewatch of a trilogy, prequels.
Yeah. In my class, on like our special like party days, we used to have to pick a movie to watch. And my class always picked Return of the Jedi, but we would only watch like 45 minutes of it. So I've seen the Jabba's palace part like
that's
10
the
different
best part
times.
of the movie. So
It is. And that's why Return of the Jedi is one of my most favorite things. And Jabba's palace is like my favorite part of like any Star Wars movie.
It's a really solid like opening to that is one of the best beginnings to like a movie for me. I mean, I guess there are some movies that like really kick you in the teeth and do something edgy, but like just constantly being fun and like cool, and there are like consistently iconic moments. It's the first act of Return of the Jedi, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and we get Leia's best look, which was the bounty hunter outfit.
The Bausch outfit, she looks so freaking good.
She looks so good.
And her hair is like in a messy ponytail.
Yes.
So good.
It's Leia's best look.
I love both the EU and the canon explanation of how she got the outfit like both times. Like I love both stories of it. Because there wasn't
what are the difference? What happened?
I haven't there I'm trying to remember legends, but like there was another bounty hunter by that name, and through the story weaves the same. Through unfortunate mishaps by not being the best bounty hunter, they either die or get captured. I can't remember from which canon source, and then Leia gets the outfit, and then she becomes Bosch.
Okay.
And leading into Return of the Jedi, and I was just like, who? I don't know how you watch a movie like that and not love Leia after that.
So cool, and there are like comics dedicated to the real Bosch now in the canon.
Is Bosch cool? I
haven't read them. I just know they exist.
Yeah, like you feel for Bosch. You definitely feel for Bosch.
Okay.
He's involved in the Crimson Reign run. He like showed up.
I haven't read the recent issue. Are you guys a fan of the Star Wars comics?
Oh my god.
Yes.
I have been getting so into them lately. I'm not buying all of the runs. I'm really focusing on Crimson Reign and Dr. Aphra.
Of course.
It's
as Kira and Aphra.
As a gay woman, I need to be repping Dr. Aphra all the time.
Of course. and just a human being with taste.
Well, yes, of course.
Dr. Aphra is amazing.
I love her. Anyway, I've just been gobbling them up, and I highly recommend everyone does the same. And I've heard that the Vader comics are getting real good right now as well.
Yeah.
Is Chris, are you reading the comics?
Star Wars, like I said, the Star Wars Republic comics kept my love for Star Wars going until we got the Clone Wars. And then, now getting back into them these past couple years, binging all like the 2015 and 2017 runs for, like the Star Wars main comic, Vader, Aphra. I love Aphra as a character. Sana Starros,
Sana, my love.
Yeah, they've
Who's
just
Sana Starros? Was she the character that was like, oh, I'm married to Han? Is that the character? But it turned out
she's
not,
Aphra's girlfriend.
Okay.
It was like a sham marriage for like a
scam they were running. Yeah,
that's fair. I wouldn't expect anything less from Han Solo.
That's the thing. I love like these scoundrel ladies that we're getting. I'm obsessed with all of them. I want more constantly.
Barikwa Wookie brought up an interesting. So Barikwa Wookie says Maya Erskine for live action Aphra. Do you know Maya Erskine from Pen 15?
Oh, yes. That took me a second to load. I like that. I like that concept.
That would be a really, like, she could play a really kooky Afra. Because, like, she's
I've
super
never
funny.
seen her. Yeah, I've never seen her not in Pen 15. So I'm sure that she's capable of doing non-12-year-old roles. I just would like to see it before I make like a final judgment. But she's really funny. I think the most important thing with Afra is like quick on your feet.
Yeah.
The actress has to be a comedian.
Bariqua Wookie says Maya's been cast in Obi-Wan in the Kenobi series, but we don't know for who.
Wait, okay, if it's Afra, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
If Afra, like, it's only a matter of time till Afra is live action. Like it's the biggest gold mine, Afra as a character.
What if that's, wait, I'm sorry. I've just been kind of confused about why Vader is in this series. Like, if
Is Hannah freaking out?
Sorry, I'm short-circuiting. If Afra is in Kenobi, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm not going to get my hopes up. Oh, God. I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
But
this whole time I was thinking like they would cast like Palm Clementif, just because she's Mantis in Guardians. And then like she's already, tangentially part of the Disney family, right? Through Marvel. And then you just go over to Star Wars.
She's funny too.
They've been doing a lot of that. Marianne, do you know Dr. Afra?
I haven't really done a lot of reading with Star Wars stuff. I'll tell you, I'm dyslexic. It is very difficult for me to read and do those types of things. I'm really big into audiobooks. I love audiobooks, but it's sort of overwhelming to know.
For sure.
What's a good audiobook? Like if
Afra audiobook. There's a Dr. Afra audiobook and you must listen to it.
Is that just a place I could just jump in without needing like other context?
Is it a book, like a prose book, not a comic book?
No, it's a prose book. It's like a novel, but it's like mainly an audiobook for like it's like specifically an audiobook, I think.
Yeah, it's also audio drama. It's like Tempest Runner, right? Where it's, they actually have like different people doing the voices, or is it narrated? It's been a minute. Okay, it's been a minute because I think it's in the same category as Tempest Runner, where they're audio dramas, where they actually
have Wookie says it's an audio drama.
Yeah, so they actually do cast other people to do the different voices instead of just, Mark Thompson doing his best voice for a woman, Mace Windu, who sounds like he's from the Bayou.
Yeah. I'm with you.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Where can you find those audiobooks?
Audible. That's where I listen to Audible.
I'm not a big audiobook person, but I mean that sounds really interesting.
Audiobooks have become
they're
very
nice
convenient.
when you're like driving and stuff.
Yeah.
And like you can do your laundry and like
yes, keep your mind busy.
That's a subtle hint for me to do my laundry. Is that
me too? No, it's a subtle hint at myself to do my own laundry.
Right.
Personally, my laundry go-to is I put on a ContraPoints video, which are all like 3 hours long, but they're like deeply interesting, and I just go.
I listen to podcasts when I drive, and when I do my laundry, I listen to music. Yeah. My laundry doesn't last that long. How long are you guys' laundry bouts?
You gotta do all the folding afterwards, and if you wait forever like I do until you have like 2 pairs of underwear left and then you do all of your laundry, that's a lot of folding afterwards.
I mean, you're a step ahead with two pairs of underwear left. And then you do your laundry. That's good. That's you got 2 left.
I know.
Bariqua Wookie says Padme audiobooks are everything. Like the new Padme book that came out.
Is there like, would she recommend
trilogy.
like a good one to start with?
Which one?
I've heard that
the Padme audiobooks.
I've heard that there's like there is a trilogy. So there is an order, but I've heard that like it's pretty easy to jump into any given one of them based on like what you're interested in.
So one takes place before and during the Phantom Menace. One takes place in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and then the other one takes place like right after Attack of the Clones. Okay. Well, like right at the very end of Attack of the Clones, if I'm remembering Attack of the Clones correctly.
Yeah. Mr. Plow says Aftermath was just the narrator's voice.
Yeah.
and like audio dramas are better, right? Because they're all the different voices.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first time thinking too much into audiobooks.
Sorry,
never-
I didn't mean to hijack things with audiobooks.
No, I mean it's a
No.
medium. Like it's a
It's a
you
very
know,
legit medium.
it's a legitimate
It's the
medium.
future, quite honestly, because
Is it?
everyone's ADD is like getting super like activated by the fact that the pandemic kept us all like very digitally focused, and also like TikTok, the algorithm is just like it's training our attention spans to be incredibly short. So everyone who had like some sort of dormant level of ADD, I feel like what I've been hearing from people is that it's been getting so much worse for everyone recently. So like, I think that, you know, because of like that, there's going to be a lot more like audiobooks, because for me, it's really like helpful to be able to do two things at once at any given time, you know, like, yeah, I can't clean the house unless I have like a video essay playing.
That's fair.
Which is terrible, but you know, that's how it goes.
Yeah,
So.
however you can get it done.
I feel like my childhood prepared me for this, because at least a common thing in Black households is early on a Saturday morning, you will be woken up to gospel music and you know it's time to clean. So I feel like, you know, I always got to be listening to something when I clean now.
Yeah.
Pavlovian. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the music stops and you stop and you're like, I can't
Yeah,
go
it's
any
just like, what do I do? What do I do?
I'm lost. What do I? Yeah. Mr. Plow says the sound effects are really good and the space battles are awesome. I didn't know that they had sound effects for space battles in the audiobooks.
Yeah, they'll add music, they'll add blaster and sound effects, and you know, like for Vader, they'll add his breathing. So I think I just got done with the Thrawn trilogy, the first canon Thrawn trilogy, and there was a part where they played like Binary Sunset for the Empire, and I was like, that feels weird. The bad guys get the good guys. That feels weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah,
because even though they're the bad guys, they're technically the good guys of the book.
Right.
That's my favorite song, though, out of all the Star Wars movies. I love the Binary Sunset, like the Force theme. That's my favorite.
No, I'm not going to mouth trumpet. I'm trying to figure out if this little motif is part of Binary Sunset. Wait, no, I lost it. No, I'm thinking about Across the Stars. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's Across the Stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No. That's my favorite prequel piece.
What this is.
From the prequels, that's definitely the best. So good.
I love Star Wars to death, and you guys are like next level. Like, I'm like, I would probably just be mouth trumpeting as well, because I don't know the names of them other than Duel of the Fates, because that was like the biggest one for me, like growing up, was like, oh, Duel of the Fates beats all for me. Mr. Plow says great use of harp. What has harp in it? Like a song has the harp in it?
Across the Stars does. It's that opening to do 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 before it goes to the dun 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 dun. Yeah, it's harp before.
Okay. Did I ask you guys who your favorite characters are?
Kylo Ren.
Really? Above like everybody? Kylo Ren above Afra for you?
That's difficult, but yes.
Okay. I have my opinions, but all right.
For me, so overall it's Luke, but I also got to break it down by trilogy. Prequels, it's Ahsoka. OT, it's Luke, and then sequels, it's Finn.
Wait, sorry, what was that? What was the breakdown?
So prequels, Ahsoka, OT, Luke, sequel trilogy, Finn.
Ahsoka's definitely up there for me too.
Yeah. Oh, Finn. I get so sad when I think of Finn.
I could write a dissertation
Yeah. Marianne.
My favorite, I think it's a three-way tie between Luke, Leia, and Rey.
Where does Leia really stand out to you? Like, we're talking
I mean,
the sequel trilogy or like what movie is
As
your
a-
favorite Leia?
as a kid, I really gravitated towards Leia because she was the only girl, really.
Yeah.
And so I really gravitated towards her growing up. I like had the action figures and stuff, but I liked Luke's story because it was really his story. So those were really like my two favorites growing up. And like, of course, merch, and like in the 90s, it was like little boys' clothing. So my mom would buy it for me and it was always like Luke Skywalker. They didn't make Leia stuff. So those are really my favorites growing up. So then when I saw the sequel trilogy and there was like, oh, did we lose Chris?
I mean, he's still here.
No, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whoops. Yes, in the sequel trilogy, when I saw it and it was like a woman leading the trilogy, I was like, oh my God, this is what I always wanted from Leia. This is what I wanted growing up, to be able to have like a female Jedi and like leading the story. And that's another reason I really liked The Rise of Skywalker, because we got that flashback scene of Leia training and her lightsaber and all that. I was like, yes, I knew it. That was always in my head growing up. I was always like, I just know Leia as a Jedi deep down.
Yeah. I feel like when I was a kid, I had like really basic taste. It's like, okay, Luke is my favorite, of course. Lando comes around. I love Lando. When I think of like, my favorite character in the original trilogy, it's Lando. But Lando also barely gets to do anything. So,
But he has the best vibes, objectively.
He saves the galaxy twice.
right. But in
With
like
no screen time either time, but
yeah. Exactly. They're like 5-minute chunks, and it's like great. It's like when we see Lando, it's great, but also I always wanted more. So that was cool, like reading the books and like being able to like dive into like different characters in the books. But yeah, my taste was kind of basic growing up. And then the sequel trilogy came out, and even though I have my thoughts about the sequel trilogy and like lost potential, Finn, Rey, Poe are like, I just want to see more of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I really love Jana too, though. She was in The Rise of Skywalker, and I wish she had come in sooner.
Yeah.
She was such a good character. I really hope we see more of her.
Yeah.
We need to get the story of Ansett Island where her and her entire platoon just defect. We don't even have that story in any like books or anything like
thing.
Yeah, so it's like mentioned offhand, like kind of. She's not even named, but it's mentioned offhand in like this pre-Rise of Skywalker like introductory book, but does not give you any details about anything. So all we got is, her scenes in the movie, and it's just like, give me more.
More, yes. No.
Yeah.
I really liked her. And I thought the actress was so good too.
She actually just got cast to play Whitney Houston in a biopic.
Whoa.
What?
All right.
That's awesome. I didn't even know they were doing a Whitney movie.
Me either, but I'm like, all right, stay booked and busy, Naomi.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm so excited.
I like seeing these like the actors thrive. You know?
Yeah. I know Daisy Ridley coming back to Instagram. It's like, everybody be nice.
Yeah.
No, that was a true triumph to see her return. She's not ever going to post anything related to Star Wars. I can sense it. But like, wait, I might be already wrong about that. No, never mind. That was Mark Hamill posted the picture of the two of them on set to like welcome her back. Because I know that she wants to stay as far away from those fans as possible. But like, I'm glad she's back.
The fans.
Did Kelly Marie Tran come back to Instagram? I don't know if she did.
No, I don't think
No,
so. Or maybe
not
she might have an account, but there's nothing on it.
I think she's like, I was going to say, I think she just doesn't post.
She is coming back to she is going to Celebration, which is
awesome.
huge. She'll be there on Sunday. Yeah, and I think that's amazing that like her and Billy Lord will be there, and they'll be there together. So that's good.
I'm so sad I'm missing it. I want to meet her so bad. Both of them, but especially Kelly.
Yeah, I'm not going either. I spent all my money at Disney World.
Yeah, me too, for kind of the same reason earlier this year.
Who what's a character that like barely got any like screen time or that you want to like see a lot more of?
Sice Noodles.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
That's not a bit.
I love her. She's my wife. But no, I mean, like, truly though, there's a lot of drama about like the band.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want like a little mini series that's almost like a, what's that? That TV show Nashville, where it's like about the ins and outs of the industry and how it's all cutthroat, but it's like it's set on Tatooine. I would love to see it. That one episode, she killed Zero the Hutt just point blank in an episode of the Clone Wars, and you're saying I'm crazy for wanting more of her? Like,
wait, did I say you were crazy?
well, you just looked at me. You're like,
I mean, I
gave a judgmental look.
I wasn't. Sorry,
it was in the eyes.
I'm gonna cover my eyes next time I make a judgmental look. Mr. Plow says Babu Freak.
Yes! Oh my god!
Hey.
actually, on that like note, Zori Bliss, would love to see a bit more of her.
Oh, Kerry Russell's character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I don't like when they put big names in Star Wars because it's hard to separate for me, because I feel like it's such its own little world. And obviously they get really famous after Star Wars, but I love when they cast unknowns, because you can kind of like create your own little world rather than, there's like Laura Dern or whatever.
Yeah. But like she barely, like it wasn't like Kerry Russell's face on screen the whole time, you saw like this much of her.
Yeah. Not like
that was nice.
What was I forget what I was gonna say. Chris, did you have one?
Does Lando count?
Yes.
I need more Lando.
I'm
Lando
so
show
for that
win.
series.
I was going to say, do we know for the Lando show which actor is playing Lando? Is it like young Lando or older Lando?
It's the same one from Solo.
Well, we only know two
Lando.
things about the Lando show. We know that Justin Simeon, who did Dear White People, is helming it, and we know that it's an event series. That's it.
Donald Glover hasn't officially. Wait,
I wasn't sure if it was Donald Glover
without him.
I mean, we don't know. Donald Glover is booked and busy.
Yeah.
For years. Like
he's doing Atlanta, and he's also doing Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, he signed an 8-figure deal with Amazon to develop content for a channel. So they got to bring him back for that, and like you got to bring back Billy D, because he deserves to see that character out. And Billy D is 84 years old.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow, he looks so good. I didn't know.
Like don't crack.
I would love to have both of them.
That's my pitch. An Arrow style show where you have post The Rise of Skywalker Lando with Janna and those other stormtroopers, helping reunite them with their families and telling stories about his younger days, where you have Donald Glover acting it out, and they will all connect to the plot. I want Kira to be the villain because I would love to see her come back in live action. And then, that's like season 1. And then season 2 is, just called Calrissian, and it's Janna taking on the mantle of Calrissian because she's his daughter. And then she has her own series from there on out.
Wait, is Janna his daughter?
I think that's a deleted scene, but yeah.
That it's no one knows for sure.
Yeah.
Because they say Lando's daughter was kidnapped when she was 2. We'll get the answers to that hopefully in Shadows of the Sith, which comes out next month, and that's going to become my whole personality. But
I thought that there was like somebody said that for sure they filmed it like that, and then they decided to edit it out.
Janna had a few different interpretations. Like Janna was originally supposed to be Finn's sister, then they changed that, and then they're like she's possibly Lando's daughter, then they reeled back on that, so now it's just like
she's there.
Who is she?
I don't.
It seems like they did that a lot in Rise of Skywalker because Babu Frick was supposed to die. And they were like, that's too much. Audiences are not going to like that. So that's why they have him pop up later on.
Like, hey.
Yeah, that's why
I guess
he randomly
the
pops
good guy
up.
and Kajimi, yeah. But still,
just to let everyone know he made it out.
Did Zori also make it out then? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
right.
think it was
She's
Spielberg,
flying
actually. He watched the cut and he's like, what happened to Babu? And they're like, oh, I guess he died. And he's like, no, audiences are going to like him. We can't kill him.
You can't lose your cute little merchandising opportunities.
Right?
Yeah.
The
way that
the
they-
Porgs for Rise of Skywalker.
I know. Well, they brought Dio into it, and I thought he was supposed to be the little cute one.
I love Dio.
I do too, but like you always forget about him. Like they did not merchandise that man very much.
They didn't
No.
merchandise Rise of Skywalker like at all. I still feel like everything merch wise is The Last Jedi. It's like that way at Disney too. I feel like a lot of it was still very like centered around The Last Jedi, and they didn't really give any attention to Rise of Skywalker.
Disney's
Sad.
marketing has pretty much been subpar for Star Wars. Like, honestly, I honestly want to say after The Force Awakens, because outside of really like The Last Jedi, like the character posters, phenomenal. But pretty much everything after that is so subpar. Like they did for The Force Awakens, they did a premiere at Disney World, like at the Disney theater. And then afterwards, like you could buy a special ticket, and they did like a party afterwards, like in the park. They had characters there. Where was that for The Last Jedi? They didn't do it. Where was that for The Rise of Skywalker? You're talking like the end of the saga.
Yeah, they
That
didn't
should
do
be
anything.
the biggest party.
Such an event. Yeah. And like also like it should have been like 3 hours long. If Endgame gets to be 3 hours long, I think the finale of the Skywalker saga gets to be 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there has to be stuff behind the scenes that were going on, because even when Mandalorian season 1 came out, they didn't have any Grogu toys for Christmas, right? Wasn't that
They
like a
did.
thing?
Well,
Yeah,
so,
I don't
okay.
understand who does Disney's merch, because I feel like they've missed the mark so many times now.
So there are two things that I'm like, okay, I can understand you wanting to keep that secret, right?
Yeah.
But what you should have done is like the second The Mandalorian comes out, you start sending off things to your manufacturers, like make these toys. And it's weird because in the original when Star Wars was first released and their toys would sell out quickly, they did these essentially like IOUs for their like, these won't be available for Christmas, but you can buy them. You send in the postcard and we'll mail them to you in like February or March.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do that for Grogu. Like that's in your history. Like
Well,
Disney
wasn't that
Plus,
a commercial like upset, like in a way, like weren't people upset about that? Like that IOUs for Christmas for Star Wars?
but they released them so far ahead of time that people knew what to expect. Like, that because Star Wars came out in like May. So when it came to like August or September, when they knew they weren't going to have them in time for Christmas, they were just like, yo, fill these out now and we'll get them to you. Because they still gave them like a little something. It just wasn't the actual toys.
Yeah.
But
like-
also like they didn't know that Star Wars was gonna be a hit in 1977.
Right.
Obviously, it's a hit now, and
Right.
you should
Yeah.
expect that your little cute thing is gonna be everyone's Christmas list. Like,
Mhm.
I heard that after The Last Jedi received mixed reviews, they specifically scaled back what they did for Rise of Skywalker, because I guess some of the stuff didn't really sell or go over well from The Last Jedi. So they didn't want to, like, I don't know, make that investment. But still, it's like Star Wars. And even if, adults are bickering over what they like or what they don't, like 8-year-olds are still going to want, Rey's lightsaber or a little Babu Frick. So,
Yeah.
or, Grogu. So it definitely seems like they should be anticipating merch sales.
Did Solo come out before or after Last Jedi?
After.
Okay. Because I feel like after Solo came out and also didn't do well in theaters, I feel like they just scaled everything back. They were just like, let's cancel all our plans and like reshuffle the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might have been a psychic in the Star Wars team now that I'm thinking about it, because the way that they switched from movies to streaming TV shows right before 2020, suspicious to me. Because I think that with all the upheaval and the garbage that was going on behind the scenes of like, we have to rewrite the script like 7 times of Rise of Skywalker, they could and should have pushed it a year or two. And they didn't. To release it at the end of 2019, somebody is employing Cassandra of Troy. That's my fear.
Isn't there a Star Wars way to tell the future? Who does
World
that?
Between Worlds. Someone was in the World Between Worlds and
Yeah.
saw 2020 and was like, we got to get this movie out right now.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet it was a Skywalker that saw the future and just, was just like,
Under the
I gotta
prophetic
work.
dreams.
I gotta work to prevent this, and then made it worse.
Yeah. Mr. Plow says you got to strike while the Beskar is hot, which is, I mean, it's true. What was I was gonna, sorry, I just had this like weird image of Babu Frick, like when it reveals that he's alive when he's like flying.
Hey!
He's like Babu Frick, and then his thing explodes. Like that's his death. Like you're like, yeah, he's alive.
A generation of children.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we as a generation got Mufasa in The Lion King. So I mean, like they could handle Babu ending up in a violent explosion.
I mean, you make a good point. That was so
They did
sad.
have to watch Ray drop dead though, and Chewbacca explode. So maybe let's not push it.
I mean, I'm
they
traumatized
got
that
better.
each of the movies we see Han, Luke, or Leia die. Like that is so sad to me.
And
Yeah.
I don't even know if that was supposed to go down. Like I have no idea if Carrie Fisher, if she were alive, Leia would have like passed away in The Rise of Skywalker if they got to film it the way they wanted to. But like
I just feel like they knew they had to kill off Harrison. Like he wanted
yeah, he
that since
demanded
Empire
it,
Strikes
for
Back.
sure.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like I would have just let that be the only one. I don't know if they needed to kill Luke. I mean, it was done beautifully, but still, it's sad.
I was
I
so
know
afraid Lando was gonna die in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
I was like, he needs to be happy because everybody else is sad and miserable. He needs to be happy, and he was until I read the novelization. I was like, okay, he wasn't. Oh, okay, noted. I know when Luke died. So like when he walks in the crate and he walks onto the battlefield. And Kylo Ren's just like, I want every gun we have to fire on that man. And then they just do it. And there's just like this cloud of, like the salt and the dust. And I'm like, I had to bite my tongue to keep myself from audibly yelling, no. Like I was like, no, Luke can't go out like that. And then
It's
he's
such a good scene. He's just like,
right. And then
so
I was like,
good.
whew. So then I was so emotionally spent by the time like he did, like fade into the Force. I was just like, oh, he'll be back.
God.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
that scene didn't really have I think maybe because it was like a triumphant death and like a peaceful death that it didn't like punch me in the face the way that like so many of them in that trilogy did, like Han, punch in the face.
Oh yeah.
The who else died? Leia, punch in the face. Oh my God, especially when Chewie roars. Ben was a punch in the face for me personally. Like, damn. But I sometimes forget that Luke died because it just like it was a nice one.
Yeah.
It didn't wreck me.
My niece, so I saw it with like my family, my oldest niece who was 12 at the time. She's getting old. Saw like she loves Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, absolutely loves him. So when he died and she was like, no, and I'm just like, first time. and then like it was a rough 2 years because she was also a big Spider-Man fan, and then Infinity War happened, and so then I was just like, it's fine. I bought her a Kylo Ren, like technically I bought her 2 Kylo Ren lightsabers now, so like she's fine.
Yeah, no, that was an emotionally fraught movie for the Ben fans. I speaking as one, like I was gagging throughout the whole thing, like what's gonna happen now? He got stabbed that one time, and I was like, this can't be the way it ends. There's no way. And then he got thrown into that pit. Then he like had like the kiss, and it was like, oh my God, they're getting a happy ending. And then he died immediately after that. Are you kidding? Like that was just the roller coaster of that movie.
And don't forget the one line we ever hear from Ben Solo in the sequel trilogy. Ow.
Rise of Skywalker had a lot of like fake out deaths though. Like that was the big thing for me. I'm like
C-3PO.
I was so tired
Yeah.
by the end of it.
It was weird. And then Chewie, I don't know. I
was too wrapped up in the ecstasy of Rey using Force lightning that I didn't even notice Chewie was supposed to be dead. I audibly like yelled when that happened in the theater. I was Sawyerism was there watching it with me, and she and I had been theorizing Rey was a Palpatine since 2016.
Oh my God, same here. Because when she did the lightning, I was like,
I knew it. Yes. And like, I thought that I had laid it to rest. Like Last Jedi was like, they were nobody. I was like, boom, done. I'm fine with this. And then I was like, you're telling me after all this time, I was right? You made me think I was wrong, and then I was right?
It's so funny because I never believed she was a nobody. I was like, she's either going to be a Palpatine or a Kenobi, and they're just trying to throw us off. She's not really a nobody. Like the lightsaber called to her. Like there's, she's using the Force. Like she's somebody. So I never believed that.
I liked that she was somebody even without a noble bloodline, but I'm totally down with her being related to Palpatine as well.
Because it like ties all the trilogies together too, because Palpatine versus like the Skywalkers, it's always been this big back and forth. So what a poetic ending that a Palpatine becomes a Skywalker and good wins,
I saw her grab the ship and I was like, Star Killer. And then she did the lightning and I was just like, oh, she's better than Stark.
I like the fact that Rise of Skywalker brought back the Legends kind of thing where it's like, yeah, Palpatine fucks.
That's the thing though. He like made a clone son and his clone son fucks, but like
fucking by proxy.
Yeah.
I mean, the clone is Palpatine, just with so technically,
Yeah.
Legends was wild, by the way. That's just a side note. Legends of just clones and sons and everything.
Leaping Force bodies. Yeah. Yes, Luuk.
Luuk and then Luuk and then.
Well, I didn't know Luuk. I knew.
Yeah,
Luuk.
I think he's like a good clone to fight the bad clone. Oh. I think, or maybe a replacement bad clone to fight regular Luke. I'm pretty sure there's a Luuk somewhere.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I never read those as Luke or Luke. I did Luke and Luke.
What are you guys thinking about the new streaming stuff and like what's to come? Well, no, let's do new streaming stuff. The stuff that's come out since. Oh, we're talking like Mandalorian. We're talking Boba Fett. That's pretty much it, right? As far as streaming.
Bad Batch.
Bad Batch.
I always forget about Bad Batch.
Yeah.
I was not like crazy excited for Bad Batch simply because in the season 7 Clone Wars Bad Batch arc, it was just, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It felt like this is the part of the Clone Wars that, it's always been part of the Clone Wars. This is the part that like, is like, oh, this is awesome for like the 8-year-old boys who are watching it. I'm sure they're having a fantastic time. I am more interested in a different aspect.
Right.
And, that's obviously a big old generalization. There are plenty of adult women who adore the clones, but like, it's just never been like my area that calls to me. And it's been sort of like a, camaraderie and power of friendship thing that I feel is like for the younger audience a little bit. So I kind of was like, oh, these are some episodes. There's some different clones. That's fun. They're goofy. They've got personalities.
Yeah.
But like that was not something that I was hyped up for. And then it came out and like that first episode was like insane and fantastic. And then it was like so political. And Saw Gerrera was there, which, if Saw Gerrera is there, I'm in automatically. I love Saw Gerrera. I will watch anything with Saw Gerrera. So
I think for me, so I remember when The Mandalorian came out, and I don't remember seeing much promo for it. And I was like, it's Star Wars. I'm going to watch it. And I don't think I watched the first day or maybe the second day that it had come out. But I remember all these people were posting on Facebook. People I didn't even think were Star Wars fans. They're like, oh, my God, Baby Yoda. I'm like, Baby Yoda, what are y'all talking about? And so then I just watched it and I was hooked. But when it came to things like, the Book of Boba Fett and the Bad Batch, I think since I've watched those since being on TikTok and interacting with the community and having all these in-depth discussions about people that have been clone fans, like really, really deep clone fans forever, or like I think of like Stardust M, who is a huge Rogue One fan and it has like knows all about like Saw Gerrera, so like it was like him coming on and just being able to interact with the fan base and people from all these different backgrounds who love and are able to draw things out of Star Wars that I'm not, because I'm not them. I haven't grown up the same way they have. I think has made the overall experience of these streaming services even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really how I feel too about all the new material coming out, because even if it's something that I'm personally not super into, like, so what? There will be something else that I might like more, and other people might like something I don't. So I feel like more material coming out, whether it's movies, shows, that's a good thing, because that way there's something that everyone will like.
Yeah. Are you guys excited for what's to come? Because what is to come?
I was thinking about
Ahsoka.
this today, that I can't figure out whether the Acolyte is ever going to happen.
Yeah.
They've at least cast people.
I was so excited for it. And now like there are rumors that it's been shelved, and it's like, don't take that from me. I was so hyped.
So we know Kenobi's coming out this month. Ahsoka is filming right around now.
Andor's coming out?
Yeah, Andor's supposed to come out in the fall. Bad Batch season 2 is going to come out later this year, probably, and then Mando season 3 at the end of the year. I still think the Acolyte is coming. I still say have hope, Hannah, because they have cast one of the main characters. You do have a showrunner, and they are laying groundwork for things in the Acolyte in the High Republic. They did in Dooku Jedi Lost. So I think there are a lot of things that the story group is weaving to get us to the Acolyte.
Amandla Stenberg is the lead character.
Yes.
In the Acolyte?
In the Acolyte.
Yes.
They better not cancel it now. I'm going to be so pissed if they do.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't quite sure if it was them or not, but yes, it is Amandla Stenberg.
Just a side thing that I'm seeing like a casting call for like 2 characters from. This is as of April 22nd, so a week ago. 2 characters. Paul, male, white, 50 years old. We've never seen that before in Star Wars, so it's nice to know that they're, they're trailblazers here. The role is described as series regular, but only needed for 1 season. And then Miri, female, black, 8 to 10 years old. The role is just described as a lead guest star, with Lucasfilm possibly looking for identical twins to portray the character.
Whoa.
Oh, because they're kids. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just,
Child labor laws.
I assume that's then maybe like a young maybe Miri is the Acolyte, and maybe that's young Amandla Stenberg.
Mm-hmm.
The Acolyte's code name is Aura. A-U-R-A.
Oh, well then never mind. I guess not.
Maybe
no,
not.
the code name for the show.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I can't tell by this sentence, so maybe, yeah.
Well, that's cool that they're like publicly posting their casting calls and stuff.
Also, with a character like the Acolyte and supposedly like going over like Sith artifacts and things like that, it's just, perfect groundwork for, an Afra series or more Afra content, because, she's an archaeologist. So
can I rant for 2 seconds about as well the archaeology that's happening right now in Dr. Afra, because I think it's the coolest stuff.
I'll give you 3 seconds. That's
okay, so there's this cult called the Ascendant, and then they make like dark side technology.
Yeah. I mean, I was just joking about 3 seconds. You can take as much as you want. Like,
well, yeah. So basically, I just think it's so cool that like every time we see the way that non-force sensitives interact with the Force, like it's always like a little different. Like I don't know if this is canon anymore, but like the Chiss had like the Isalimiri cages that like it's like this blizzard that they capture and they put it in this like specific contraption, and it like neutralizes the Force in like a 10-yard radius or something. Right.
Are they not canon anymore?
So those are legends. The Chiss are canon, but those, at least for now, are legends.
Okay.
But like I just think that's like the coolest thing ever. And the way like the canon, I guess, version of that is this like ancient sort of Sith worshiping cult that were not Sith themselves, that were trying to like, it's called the Ascendant, and they were trying to like replicate the powers of the Force with like technology. And some of it is like magnets and bullshit, but some of it is like Aphra like holds on to this like artifact, and it just like gives her this like crazy dark side vision. And it's like, is this legit? Like, this changes kind of everything. If that's something you can do, like harness the Force with like crazy technology, and it gives She-Ra, and I'm obsessed with it. So
it sounds like something Moff Gideon would be on top of, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, Dr. Aphra would definitely be around to, and like a hired gun that could help him find it if he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Aphra takes place
between. Well, the current run is between Empire and Return.
Mm-hmm.
Is she older in the current run than she is?
I mean, a little. Like
in her first run
ago?
was what? After episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Like
no,
like
I think it was like before 4. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like she's got to be like late 20s, early 30s. She can't be older than that. I don't think. Like I think she's a comparable age to a lot of like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like,
she must be, because she's dating Han Solo's ex-wife.
That's true. So yeah, so I think that there's plenty of potential for Aphra to show up in any of the live action shows set in the New Republic era, or even in a post sequel era, because she would only be in her like 60s.
I mean, oh yeah,
she could be around. I think that if we see her, it'll probably be in that like Mandalorian bubble of time, though, because that does seem to be where they're focusing a lot of their guns. Like really filling in that space of like the development of the New Republic and the rise of the First Order, which I'm so excited to see. But
so she'd be roughly what, 40?
Something like that, yeah.
Mid-30s even.
If it's that time period? Because she's like a little bit older than Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So probably around 30.
Okay. There's a lot of like cool things to come. Marianne, what are you looking forward to? Like, cause there's so like not High Republic. Rangers of the New Republic got canceled, right? So like, I guess anyone looking forward to that is, I'm sorry, but
also, is Rogue Squadron still on?
It's somewhere in the ethos.
Is that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron?
I think so.
I mean, we know she's working on Wonder Woman 3 right now, so that could easily be and with the DC Warner Brothers merger, they may just be like, you're done after that trilogy, or maybe she does other things.
That's true.
Who knows? But, I imagine they're going to announce some things at Celebration that should put some more things into perspective.
Yeah.
But I would say if we don't hear something by like the D23 at the end of the year, then I'm going to be really worried for that project.
Yeah. Marianne, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah. I'm most excited for Kenobi. I'm really excited for it. And I'm also really excited for the Ahsoka show. I think a lot of times when I've, heard criticisms or something of people are always like, oh, but I like Ahsoka. And I just don't feel like comparing an animated character to a live action character is a fair comparison. So I'm really excited to have like a live action woman main character again, outside of, just Rey that we've had. So I'm really excited for that. And then I'm excited for Kenobi. I love Ewan McGregor. I'm so excited to see him be Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
Yeah, and also like comparing a TV character versus a film character is like you get so much time with the TV show character. Like it's not a fair comparison at all. And like their arc can take place over so many. Like you can have like an episode that's just dedicated to like developing that one character. So I think it's the bananas.
And Rosario Dawson, I think, is such a good choice for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Fan casting done right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the fans' preconceived notions get challenged anytime like new Star Wars comes out. I mean, it happens with Marvel, but like Star Wars is very specific. I feel like people want very specific things out of their Star Wars, you know?
Yeah.
And so like when Kenobi comes out, and if like, God forbid Kenobi, like, you know, a female character beats Kenobi in a fight, then like fans just go wild, you know?
Yeah.
The rabid fanboys.
You already have seen it. I remember there was this one guy who did a video where he was just like, if Kenobi gets beaten by the Grand Inquisitor, throw the whole show away. And I'm just like, okay, you gotta think about this contextually, which Star Wars fans are terrible at, and Marvel fans too, and DC fans.
Just fandom. Yes.
Yeah. If Kenobi is trying to hide, that means he needs to not draw attention to himself.
Right.
Beating the Grand Inquisitor is going to draw attention to himself. Escaping, maybe not.
Yeah.
But beating him and beating him handily is going to be like, oh, this is a threat. We need to call everybody in, or call Vader. So, I mean,
yeah.
Right. So, like, we already know that rematch is going to happen, but it's just like it's the preconceived notions combined with a lack of comprehension skills that really just ruin everything.
Right.
For Star Wars, like from the sequel trilogies to the anthology films to now.
Yeah. Is Vader gonna fight Kenobi in this?
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, yeah.
They said it was going to be like a rematch situation. And
Kathleen Kennedy said the rematch of the century.
Yeah. For a while, I was kind of like, well, that's like dumb, because in A New Hope, it said like, last time I was the learner and you were the master. But maybe that's a different last, you know, maybe they're not referring to Mustafar. So and I think they also say you should not have come back here to Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. So I assume that means something's going to go down like on, well, but that's the thing. The Death Star wouldn't be constructed by them, would it? I don't know.
I mean, it's in construction, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it in construction for a long time?
Mm-hmm. They were building it pretty much at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my God, right. There's a shot of it in Revenge of the Sith. I'm like a fool. But yeah, you know. So perhaps Obi-Wan just goes there and does not, for some reason, notice that they're hoarding an insane amount of kyber crystals there. But
okay. I guess as we like, our Star Wars love has spanned the past, the present, obviously, you know, these upcoming shows. What's one passion project that you would want to see happen that they haven't announced yet?
Afra show. Just not her in anyone else's show, just a show about Dr. Afra.
That's your number one pick out of everything.
Yes, out of everything. Young Ben Solo show would also be.
See, I'm forcing you to pick. I'm forcing you to pick because
no. You know what? He's got his backstory in the comics. I'm going Afra.
Afra has her story in the comics, though.
Yes, but he has his childhood in the comics, and then he has 3 movies. Afra deserves more people to know her name.
Jedi Finn.
I get hurt every time I think about Finn.
And I need vindication. I need retribution, reconciliation, reparations. A lot of Asians.
Yeah.
See, I'm so torn because I would really love to see a continuation, like, you know, Rey getting to train Finn and like where they go from there. But I feel like the nostalgic part of me really wants a young Leia show. Like, I want to see more of Leia's training and, you know, her journey. So I think that's what I would choose.
It's bonkers to me that Brea Organa is not like a character. Like, she's there, but she's not like there. You know, like her Wikipedia is like 3 lines long.
Who?
Like Leia's adoptive mother. How does she not have any kind of story at all?
Right? Yeah, there's so much to explore with Leia. There's so much we don't know, you know.
What's her name?
Brea. Breha. Now she
Bill's wife.
She did have quite a bit in Legends. You do see some of her in the Queen's trilogy, the Padme trilogy.
Good.
I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil it, but like,
okay,
yeah.
Well, that's good. Maybe it's been a while since I last checked her Wikipedia, but like last I checked in, I wanted to like know her backstory, and I assumed there would be like a book about her.
Is Jimmy Smits coming back for Kenobi?
He was rumored to be seen on set. I don't remember if it was confirmed that he was going to be in it, but I think it'd be pretty safe to say that he's going to be in it.
Makes sense.
I wish we'd get Liam Neeson. I feel like that'd be so cool.
You know, I wouldn't be. I think we'll probably see him or hear him. You know, he's like, you can't believe any actor these days that's saying they're not going to reprise a role that they've been.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of like teased it a
Andrew
little.
Garfield lying to our faces.
Right. Is there somebody you guys want to come back who hasn't been announced for Kenobi in that time period?
I mean, this would be a huge stretch, and I know it won't happen, but it would be so cool if they got Natalie Portman to be some sort of like force memory that young Leia tapped into to explain how she has these memories in Return of the Jedi. Because again, then you get a little young Leia. You could tie in, you know, her memories. We get Natalie Portman. Like,
I hadn't even considered.
We check so many boxes.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm getting all excited, flipping my cord around.
that unlocked something, because I had always regarded that as like, yeah, that's obviously a plot hole. How she says that she has memories of, but I hadn't even considered like
Leia's
her being force sensitive.
Maybe she could like tap into something, like memories of what her mom was like. You know, flashbacks of Natalie.
Is Zam Wessel the shapeshifter in
She's dead by then.
Yeah.
What if she faked her death and pretended to be Padme and then went to Leia? No, it's just a super convoluted thing that doesn't happen.
I think I would also agree with Natalie Portman for Padme for a few reasons. I know a lot of people talk about the you know, like there was in Legends where Obi-Wan went to Shmi's grave and apologized for failing Anakin, or, you know, for what her son turned into. And I feel like Obi-Wan has to make that apology to Padme as well. Because it was through his, and, you know, like talking to, you know, like Beth, you know, Mara.j.skywalker on TikTok and Camilla Boricua Wookie about, you know, like Obi-Wan, as much as he failed Anakin, he also failed Padme. Like, he's known her for how long, and he knew that something was going on between Anakin and Padme, and he let it slide because he knew it made Anakin happy. But if he actually had those conversations, and one thing that Camilla has talked about recently is, okay, you know, Obi-Wan sneaks onto the shuttle for Padme, right? You know, and because of that, that's when Anakin turned on Padme, and, you know, he's just standing there while she's being choked out, and he's just like, let her go.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, you know, what, it's just like, what, why? You know, why are you just standing there?
Push him, throw him off, like,
do something, and
protect
then
her. She's pregnant.
Right. And you know she's pregnant now. And then, you know, you just leave her laying there on the ground while you and Anakin are fighting. Like,
such a good point.
She falls kind of comfy though. Like the way she falls, she just kind of goes down for a nap.
Well, like 8 months pregnant.
I don't know. There's lava going around. That can't be comfortable. She's in full clothes and everything. She's got two babies inside her.
Yeah.
Like, no, let's not. But like the other thing is like, okay, Obi-Wan, you could have just chilled at Padme's place, because where is Anakin coming back to? The mother of his kids. I don't think he knows they're married, but like the mother of his child. Like, so all you got to do is just hang out there, have a conversation. You don't have to go there to be confrontational. But I think that, and then
then that means because he went, that he kind of knew she wasn't going to convince him, though.
Right. But at that point, would Anakin have actually harmed Padme there? Because also, because Yoda says to him, like, you know, trust your feelings, you'll know like how to find them. He could have just chilled outside Padme's place waiting for Anakin to come back. He didn't have to confront Padme. Padme did not need to know those things at that time. So it pushes the story forward. But there's also with the fact that Obi-Wan and Satine had their sort of relationship that he could have better related that to Anakin and Padme. And Padme paid the price for Obi-Wan's lack of insight into how to properly teach Anakin.
I mean, basic thing is like there needs to be better therapy in Star Wars. Like
Generally,
in this
Jedi need therapists.
The Jedi need therapists. I mean, it was
Yoda does not count. Yoda's maybe the worst therapist I've ever seen. Like they go to him for therapy and he's just like, deal with it.
Yeah.
In Yoda's defense, though, if Anakin had been more straight up with him, Yoda probably would have been able to give a better answer. Like, Anakin just says somebody he cares about dies. Okay, who? How? Details matter, right? Because, like, in a general sense, like, yeah, don't you have to let them go. But if he's like, it's my wife and the mother of my kid, Yoda's going to be like, oh, yeah, no, clear my 3 o'clock, Mace. I got some things to do.
I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to say that, like, it's like when you get in trouble with the law and you go to your let's imagine that happened to me. Did I want to, like, hypothetically in this situation, tell my parents, like I got a ticket at the beach, or whatever? No. But my parents, when they found out, they're like, you should have told me. I'm like, what? They wouldn't have been helpful. They would have come down on me,
I mean, but come down on him would have been secondary to actually getting the help that was needed. And at that point, if Anakin has Padme, she's healthy, she's going to live. Their babies, but they think baby is going to live. Anakin probably would have been fine being expelled from the Jedi Order if he was expelled because he does have his family.
Anakin wanted his cake and he wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to be the Jedi Knight. That's always been his goal. And he wanted Padme and he wasn't going to lose her. And he wants the kids and he wants all of that. And the only way to get everything that you want is the dark side.
But he got none of it from the dark side.
Because of the dark side. Yeah.
I mean, but there is an argument to be made that he could have actually, stayed a Jedi while having this, because the fall of the Jedi Order is because they're so stagnant in their beliefs, they didn't change.
Yeah.
And so if this is something that confronts it, because Anakin had friends in the Order, you also had Obi-Wan, you have, like, granted, this wasn't at the time, but now their failings with Ahsoka and everything, that would have, post the war, the Jedi would have had to be confronted with everything that happened in the past 3 years and how they needed to change.
Okay.
I'm a lawyer. I can make an argument all day.
Yeah. I also think, like, Episode 3 Yoda is not the same as On the Run Yoda. On the Run Yoda is broken because he didn't have humility, like, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. I think Yoda learned some lessons from losing everything, and that kind of sucks for Yoda.
That's why I love the Revenge of the Sith novelization, because it talks about it when it's like in those moments where he's getting, like, flung back from the lightning and his claws are going down, like, but while he's falling, he realizes that even if he won here, the Jedi have already lost. And it's because they didn't change. While the Sith were small, they were able to adapt and everything. But the Jedi, over the course of the 900 years of his life and like 650 years of his leadership, they failed because they didn't change.
Yeah.
God, imagine being alive that long. That must suck.
Yeah. And just spend the last, however many years just in isolation and then die because of a mistake you made. Just kind of sad.
He died because he didn't want to deal with any more Skywalker nonsense. And I really don't blame him.
Yeah, I'm with him on that. By the way, my pick for future stuff is I need to see Aftab Akbar, Admiral Akbar's son, because I want a main character that's an alien, like it's not humanoid. So like let's see a Rey, Finn, Poe, Aftab, Rose, Janna. Janna's her name? I always forget. Let's get
Jaina to Janna. That's the easy way to Jaina to Janna.
Yeah, I remember Jaina. Darth Chaco and I have the same thing of like growing up with the cover art of Jaina being like, this is our Star Wars crush. All it takes is one good cover art.
I didn't even have a crush on Jaina. She was my favorite in the new Jedi series. The Sword of the Jedi. Peak.
She was great.
Poetry.
I miss her. As we close up this episode, I don't know whether you guys could sum it up in such a short thing, but like, why are you in love with Star Wars?
There's just so
about
much.
Star Wars specifically? Yeah.
There's just so much that like, no matter what speaks to you about a story, there's something in this world that like you can find and can light you on fire. You know, like I feel like that's why so many people like it, and for entirely different reasons. And it's maybe why nobody in the Star Wars fandom agrees on anything, is because everyone likes it for something slightly different, because there are so many stories and there's so much world building, and it's just so like all encompassing that like you could literally spend your life like learning about all of it, and you'll never be bored.
Yeah, I really like the excitement and the adventure of it. I really like adventure type movies, and when I saw A New Hope, I just really like fell in love with it during the binary sunset scene when Luke was just like wanting more and wanting this adventure, and then has this epic 3-movie adventure, and I just was immediately sold. And I think that's really what I like the most about it.
Yeah.
I think for me is that Star Wars is hope and it's love, and through those it's inspired generations. And just being a part of a community that loves Star Wars, and you see the love that people have for individual characters and how that will inform and greater your love for a character, for the media itself. Like Camilla, I liked Padme before, but now like after talking to Camilla extensively about Padme, I love the character. Yeah. Now I'll fiercely defend her, and talking to different people who have loved different aspects of the sequels than I did. And that's great in my love for the sequels and the prequels, and just seeing all this energy in a positive light for something that we've loved for, whether it's a few years from, like the sequels coming out to the 90s and even like the 70s for some of the older fans in the community. It's something that you can bring that love and positivity into your own life and then walk with it, because it's just, as we know, these past couple of years have sucked, but we found this galaxy far, far away where we have all this love and this hope, and we can carry into like, we're going to get to better days.
Yes, exactly. It's inspiring. The stories are really inspiring.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why it's been around for 40, 50, what? I don't know, 77?
45 years.
45 years? Yeah. It's because something in it rings true, right? And there's different things. Maybe you're a fan of Jabba's palace and that stuff, Maybe you love Babu Frick, Maybe, I'm sure there's somebody out there that like that death stick dealer, whatever his name is.
Elon Sleaze-Bagano.
Yeah, there's bound to be somebody who that's their favorite character, and they're just waiting for that limited series. They might be waiting a little, a bit longer, but maybe one day, we'll get to see that. And so, like, you guys are right that like there's so much to it, and so everybody likes it for a different reason, and it's nice that we can like come together and like talk about our love for it, no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're accepting of each other's like differences,
Exactly.
And what we're interested in. I think that makes a big difference. Thank you guys so much for coming on to the show and taking time out of your night to be here and talk with me about your Star Wars love. Before we get going, let's just say, Hannah, first, what is your social media? Where can people find you? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. I am on TikTok and Instagram at Discount Bo-Katan. I've got just plenty of Star Wars funnies coming up on those platforms. I'm trying to start using Instagram as a platform a little bit more. So if you want to help me with that, you could give my Instagram a follow at Discount Bo-Katan. But yeah, just living my life, chatting about Star Wars, and I hope to hang out with you guys there.
All you guys do great work, might I say. Y'all do great work, and I love having you guys here. So, Marianne, what's your social media? Where can we find you? What do you got coming up?
So I am at Screaming Namaste on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. If you want to check out my stuff over there, I talk about a lot of pop culture things, commentary, jokes, a lot of Star Wars as well. So go check that out. The end.
The end. Awesome. And Chris, where can we find you? What do you got?
You can find me at Star Wars Lawyer on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. And also my podcast, Too Black, Too Nerdy, on wherever you listen to podcasts.
Is it a 2 or a T-O-O?
T-O-O.
Okay.
If anybody spells it either way, I'm fine because it works either way because both me and my co-hosts are both black and we're both nerdy. So it works either way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I do Star Wars content, lore, cosplay, what ifs. And also I put the founding fathers in present day and have them react to things. So, you know, it's wild, but people find it funny. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, you have that like really cool ass logo.
Yeah, that's new. That's new. The brandification of Star Wars Lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brandification.
That's the Birds of Prey subtitle of the movie, right? No, that's Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Emancipation of Harley Quinn, yeah.
The Fabulous Emancipation. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Fantabulous. That's what it is. Thank you guys so much for coming on this show. Thank you to everybody out there who's been watching, whether it's on volume.com, Twitch, or YouTube. Bariqua Wookie, Mr. Plow, Explosivo Steve, and we had Brian with the beard earlier saying, I think he just said, sup, everyone. So, sup. It's a little bit late, but sup. For anyone out there who wants to find the Keeg, we have multiple different shows. You can find us pretty much wherever at the Keeg Show, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter. I guess whether it's Twitter. I'm not really, the Keeg's not really too much on Twitter. But we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/the Keeg Show if you're looking to give back to the Keeg in one way or another by donating, subscribing to a tier as small as $5. But we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and we're going to be at Star Wars Celebration at the end of the month, making content. And then we're also doing a live after party for Star Wars Celebration on May 28th. So, you know, if anyone's there, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, we'll have our own party.
Yes.
I'm sorry to anyone who's not coming to Star Wars Celebration. Neither of you, right? Marianne or Hannah?
Nope.
We'll pour one out for you two.
I did go to Galaxy's Edge, though, and that was very fun. I'd highly recommend it.
And now you're rubbing that into me because I've never been to Galaxy's Edge, and I'm sorry.
Rise of the Resistance.
Right? Yes, the blue milk.
If that ride is working when you're there, it's a grab bag sometimes.
I had one of the animatronics was on B mode when I went, but I had a blast.
What was B mode? Like it slightly moved?
I mean, I don't want to. No. It's like there's like a projection instead of the animatronic, or like a screen instead of the animatronic. So I don't want to spoil anything, but apparently it's like a really cool animatronic that's very complex and frequently broken.
I need to go, and I apologize.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
The last one.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. Either way, look for the things to come from Hannah, Chris, and Marianne, and the Keeg. If you're listening to the podcast, you couldn't see what we were doing, but you were listening to us, and that's wherever you get your podcast from. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We're all over the place. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part of this all. Once again, I am your host, Dimitri Pereira, and this has been the Keeg Talks Star Wars Love. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Super strong or super fast.